Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. I'm back here in the studio with Shashwath today. Thought about talk about something interesting. We always talk about how interest rates are risen because to reduce the inflation and how central banks don't have any other option but to raise interest rates. There's an interesting article Shashwath brought to me. There are more options than just raising interest rates. There are ways to reduce the pain borne by the general public by doing targeted monetary policies
Tightening.
tightening, which can help everybody in the wider range. So regarding this, I thought we'll talk to Shashwath today about this. So Shashwath, what's this article you got us today?
Yeah. So it's an interview with this economist called Kate Barker. Very sensible lady, has a lot of great policy, and she's been screaming this since 2001. So she's been an economist as a part of the former Bank of England MPC, Monetary Policy Committee. She's part of the Monetary Policy Committee, and she's made many suggestions, and we'll go over some of them. She's still suggesting the very same ideas. So what does Kate Barker say? She says that you're not going to be able to tame inflation by just increasing interest rates. You are relying too much on the Bank of England. After all, they have two tools. One, predominantly you can increase or decrease the interest rate, the lever. Or the second option is for you to do quantitative easing or sell off bonds. These are two options which you have as a central bank. But what she says is that you can't, like Rishi Sunak has recently said he's going to halve inflation. But she says that that's a lofty promise, it's a great promise, great goal. But you cannot do this by just relying on Bank of England to raise interest rates. And she says this because of predominantly two reasons. One, it takes time for your interest rate to trickle down. Number two, when you have fixed rate mortgages, which is what is prevalent in the UK now, the pain is going to be very disparate. So if you have a few landed people who are able to purchase assets and at a fixed rate, at a low interest rate, they are relatively left unscathed by this interest rate hike. And the people, new home buyers, the ones who are trying to move up the social ladder, the ones who are trying to buy a new property, are the ones who are going to face higher costs in terms of borrowing costs because interest rates are now higher. And people are renting. And now rental yields, people are trying to get some money out of renting. Those are also the people who are going to get affected by this. So people have already bought these properties on a fixed rate because it's not floating anymore. Even if you jack up rates, their costs of borrowing is still going to be at that low level, artificially low level it was before. So what she's saying is that the pain level is going to be distributed all over. So due to this reason, she says that you cannot rely on the Bank of England to fix your problems. You can't just hand wave and say that, yes, I'll jack up interest rates by 2% or 200 basis points and then we're going to be everything's going to be hunky-dory. What she does say is that you have to have fiscal policy. And this is where she tries to target, which he was talking about. She says you should be taxing the top 5% or 10% or even 1%. You need to be taxing them a lot more. And what kind of tax are you supposed to levy? Income tax, she says. So income tax is the way you target the richest of richest. And this is the way where you wealth redistribute, because now you have a sort of K-shaped recovery going on. She says that you have to sort of bring it back, rein in the economy, and you have to drain out all the free cash, not from the bottom, but from the top where it actually, there's a lot of free cash swimming around because people are buying luxury cars. So what she's saying is that you have to be able to tax the rich, and by taxing the rich, you'll do another two things. One, you'll be draining out all the excess cash because people are now buying yachts in the UK and they're buying luxury beachside properties and in full amount. They're not taking a loan on it, and they're buying luxury cars. And you can see this in India as well, where the sale of high-end cars are still very strong, whereas the sale of low-end cars are going down because the lower rung of society are not able to purchase these cars. Same thing is happening in the UK at a more pinpoint or sharper level. And what she says is that one, you're going to drain out the excess cash, you're going to wealth redistribute, but number two, you're going to fill up the coffers. And by filling up your coffers, in this case, you're reducing your budget deficit. By reducing your budget deficit, what ends up happening is that you'll be able to produce public sector goods. You're going to be able to build pipelines. You're going to be able to provide better waste management. You're going to be able to provide better sewage systems. So what she's ended up saying is that, there's a 56 billion pound gap in the budget of water companies because they need to drain off the excess sewage, and they need 56 billion pounds for this. Where are they going to find the money? The government has said, hands up, I don't know, you find it yourselves, to the water companies. And what she says is, okay, you're not able to raise taxes. That's an unpopular opinion. Fine, don't raise taxes. what you could have done is when the interest rates were low, you could have issued bonds, special municipal bonds, which was happening in the US, to fund your public sector goods. So what she's saying is that you need not have come to this position. But you talked about a dream of building 300,000 housing units. You've barely made a dent on that number because you didn't borrow when times were good. You didn't borrow when the interest rate cycle was low. And now it's a bit too late because the music has stopped and now the cards have collapsed. The house of cards has collapsed, and now you have to start feeding in all the excess cash. So what you're left is no infrastructure. You're not able to spend on public goods which are of necessity. And what you're also left with is the sort of K-shaped recovery which is happening, where the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. So that's basically what the article is trying to say.
This reminds me of Star Trek movie Part 2, Wrath of Khan, where Spock is dying and he tells Captain Kirk, his best friend, the need of few outweigh the need of many.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, our society is the other way around. The need of few always outweighs the need of many.
Yeah.
So the few which are there in society, the top echelons who are the richest of the rich, they always seem to be the ones who seem to be directing monetary policy. It's very unfortunate. The poor and the lower half of society never gets to hear their voices heard.
The funny thing about that is something which she calls nimbyism, which is not in my backyardism. Because when you do try to, so there's this mentality in the UK, and you can sort of see it in India as well, where you have any sort of large scale project which comes to your local neighborhood, what ends up happening is that you shoot it down immediately. You cite civil liberties, you say that this is not fair, that is not fair, you're going to have an impact on climate change, so on and so forth, and you completely mute out all development possible in your area. And you ask for cash repayment, you're asking for compensation, when you're actually benefiting with people coming in and investing in where you live. So this has been termed colloquially as nimbyism, or not in my backyard. So you're basically saying, don't come to my backyard and do something. Even if it's great for me, you better pay me to do something good for me. So that's like crazy.
That's the same problem. Like you said, even the problem why we cannot deal with climate change is because of nimbyism. Because they cannot see the effects of climate change right now right in front of them.
Yes.
So they're like, why are we bothered?
Yeah.
Yes, it's flooding in Delhi. Yes, it's flooding in Spain. So what?
They're
There are
saying
forest fires in Greece.
They're saying the winters are still cool. Where is the global warming?
Yeah, so that kind of mentality is the same problem which you can see permeating through our fiscal policy and economic policies.
Yeah.
Where the poor are in such dire straits and the rich don't seem to be caring about it too much.
Yes.
Because they always feel there's some other shelter or haven they can run off to. But what they don't realize is eventually everything catches up. There's only so far you can run. After a while, there's nowhere more to hide. So somewhere along the line, governments have to realize, politicians have to realize, they have to change their attitudes. They have to change the way they perceive money. The way wealth is distributed has to be changed. Yes, there's only, I can famously keep telling all these guys in my team, there's only so much money you can spend in a lifetime. Yes, what are you going to do with 1,000 crores in your account? What will you do with 500 crores in your account? There's only so much money a human being can spend. Yes, when I give you sudden wealth, you'll go splurging for a little while. You can only wear one watch at a time. You can only drive one car at a time. So when you think about it, the madness of these guys who are having such access to money.
Yes.
I don't mind them buying a yacht. Do they need to buy 2? Do they need to buy 3? They can do a lot more to society. Why they can't feel like Warren Buffett feels, or like what Bill Gates is trying to do? Give something back to society. Like Elon Musk, instead of spending $45 billion on buying
Twitter and completely killing it.
Yeah, for a quarter of the money, he could have built Sri Lanka out. So you can't understand it. I don't understand it.
And the going joke, which we always talk about when talking about Berkshire Hathaway, is they have enough cash for you to start 2-3 micro countries, and you'll still have a higher GDP in terms of how much money they have in their reserves. Berkshire Hathaway is like a mini country itself. So when you have rich people who are so rich, the least you can do is invest in public sector projects and a way to improve society as a whole. And this is an appeal to all of you who also live in the UK to petition for better things for you guys and to also vote correctly.
Correct. And even if you are wealthy, you can influence without making it a political issue. But Warren Buffett does that too. It doesn't have to be, every time you try to help and change society, you don't have to do it politically. You can have politics aside and still help people.
Yeah.
But that being said, there are a minority of the rich who don't mind the taxes going up. Actually, they'll welcome it
Yeah.
because they can pay it, they can afford it. You know,
They're not going to miss it.
they're not going to miss it. It's not going to hurt them much. But politicians are swayed by the lobbying committees. So this is where UK is at the moment. And the problem in the UK is it's so acute for them. The difference between the rich and the poor is so acute. And the poor are so bamboozled by all this influence which is pumped into them doing Brexit and what's come after that.
Immigration.
Yeah, anti-immigration. And how these politicians and the rich have managed to weaponize these things and dump it on these
Targeting
guys.
marginalized communities.
Yeah, and putting one against the other. What they're doing in India is what they're doing within British
We learned it from
society now. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pitting one against the other within UK, and
They've been doing this for
the British
200
people are
years.
losing.
Yeah.
I really don't see how Rishi Sunak can halve inflation
Without fiscal policy.
without change. Yeah, and the Bank of England cannot do this. They can only do the interest rates. They can give more cash.
Yeah.
But these kind of things like changing the tax structure,
That's not
making
in
it
their
more fair, the Bank of England has no voice in that area.
Yeah.
That is purely in a political realm where the House of Commons and the House of Lords have to decide these things.
It's like, you can think of it like this. You're driving a car. One foot has now gotten off the gas pedal. The BOE has gotten off the gas pedal. You need Rishi Sunak to press the brake. If you don't press the brake and you assume the car is going to stop just because you took the foot off the gas, it's not going to stop. You're still going to crash.
Yeah.
Maybe crash it, albeit at a smaller pace, but you're still going to crash.
Correct. And
You
that's
need-
where England is heading.
And you need the government to step in and change fiscal policy and create a more progressive tax system.
Correct. But this, how it will come about, I do not know. And nor do I see the voices in Labour Party making any
Any
sense.
statements, yeah.
Yeah, what they speak also is completely crazy.
She's a rare blip in the system.
Correct.
Where you have the FT going out and reaching out to this person who's not in the MPC anymore, and the FT has said, please give us an interview, and she's given an interview. She's been screaming this since 2004. You guys can go and read the article. She's been talking about the importance of building housing units, public sector goods, and raising funds when the time is right. And George Soros himself has also talked about it in Europe, where he said that countries need to issue long-term bonds, where the principal isn't due at any time period. It's permanent. So, people have been saying this, sane people have been saying this. You have blips in the system, but you need someone to listen to the blips.
Correct.
And in the interview, she says, yes, you need one or two of us screaming this at all times so that you get picked up at least in a few decades.
And I agree with conservatives, them saying, okay, everything should not be free. But at the same time, you cannot hoard everything for yourself.
Yes.
That doesn't work either. So extremes never work. So till the British society and the politicians decide to take a good hard look at what they're doing, I don't see any way out of this, except for, like Sashwath said, for a big crash which is going to come.
Yeah. You have
Because their inflation is nowhere near tamed. But they're the only developed country where nothing seems to be working right
and
now.
compared to the European counterparts who are also struggling with inflation, at least European counterparts have been able to build public goods such as housing units, which now they're able to let out. But the UK has actually reduced in terms of development per square inch in terms of land. So you have a country which is regressing compared to your peers. You were supposed to be the leader, and you said, okay, I'm going to break out. I'm not going to be the leader anymore. And you said, I'm going to pave myself a new path. Sure. But you're also artificially shooting yourself in the foot by saying, I'm not going to let in migrants in. You're driving up wage costs. Okay, inflation is up now. At least put your foot on the brake. You're not willing to do that either. So everything is sort of going wrong for the UK, but it's not something which is out of their control. It's not something which they have no absolute influence over. They can definitely do something to help out.
Well, the funny thing is you see a lot of middle-class Europeans moving out of UK.
Yeah.
You'll see lots of the YouTubers, influencers, middle-class guys all exiting. They're all wanting to buy properties in Portugal, buy properties in Spain.
Yes.
And they want to set up their house there and build their families there, send kids to school there. They themselves are dumping UK in droves.
Yeah.
So things are pretty bleak there. But that, then again said, things can turn around. All it takes is an inspirational leader and the populace standing behind him. Things can change.
Very true.
Yeah. So that being said, I hope you found this video informative and entertaining. And thoughts and prayers are with the British people. That being said, if you do like this video, please do share and like this. Turn on the bell notification icon so you'll be notified every time we come up with a new video. Do think of subscribing to our channel if you do enjoy this kind of content. Once again, thank you for joining us on Be Rich.
Thank you.
I'm in Tokyo on work on the 5th of August 2023. I have a lot of following in Japan, Tokyo. Those who want to meet me in Tokyo on 5th August, kindly drop me an email on the address given below or contact us on WhatsApp there. My team would get in touch with you and facilitate the meeting. Once again, I thank you for your support for Be Rich. It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.